is as always. Thank you for joining me, comrade. I'm gonna be quick as I can. Let me have 30 seconds, comrade, and then I'll come back. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me. It's Demi Kiza. I'm talking about independence. One of my name, I call myself independent. Thank you for joining me. It's very nice to see you. We have some news which is coming on. The launch of the film of Bobby Wine is going ahead in London and has gone very well. Bobby Wine is still in Dubai, and his music show was cancelled. But tomorrow we have comrade who was abducted and then appeared in court. Is coming back to seek for his called Motive Kasaja. So please, let us tweet, let us post, let us use any post to put up his name. So we still have, I saw Patricia yesterday, she's getting well. We still have those who are not well. Council Ameli is still there. And we still have Nusfakato, who is not well. We still have Muhammad Sekrinya and so many prisoners, over 50 into prison. And then we still have so many people who are missing, the one which our president put up yesterday. He has been putting up on daily basis. So independence, I'm here. Everybody knows about independence. Anybody knows that we've been 60 years since we've been since we have been independent, become independent. But after 60 years, have we got something to show? The answer is on the plate. There is nothing to show. And today I'm going to be talking about effectiveness, efficiency, and responsive as a landmark. Independence is a big thing. I've looked in history that the police of Uganda still has a constitution of our British colonies. So we haven't moved on. I've looked on the history that we are still judicially is still the same. We are still on British colony. So what we have to ask, what is there? We haven't gone, we are regressing. What I'm seeing now, Uganda is a parasite country. We are not independent. When you talk about development, you talk about development to bring a country which is self-reliant. So what is happening under Museveni? The country is not self-reliant. We are relying on donation. People, they are on corruption. And there is crime everywhere. So we haven't been independent at all. I don't think NRM, they want to hear this, but this is a fact. Well, so let us look at education. Our education was good, was at Cambridge, Makerere University, what has a very good standard. But all these years, after 62 years, should education be unaffordable, inaccessible? Should it be not universal? Should it not be that is quality? Just as what I'm talking about quality. You saw the schools were used to bring children to demonstrate. If it's quality, when they talk about human rights, it's about everybody. It's not about party politics. When they talk about environment, it's not about party politics. So that is how our education is. It is inaccessible, it is unaffordable, it's not quality, it's not universal. And second, all I remember, we had Bitamazire, then we had Jessica Pauluko, then we had Janet Museveni. Janet Museveni is never fit to be a president, a minister at any level. That is the problem we have. So we have so many problems and challenges in Uganda when you talk about education. But we look at What is the yardstick? Yardstick, we are going to use the independence first. We were independent, everything was left for us to be in charge. We can no longer make colonials, the Bazungu, as a problem. The Bazungu is with us because the Bazungu left us for 60 years. And for 60 years, they are sticking points that we haven't had, like one for transfer of power. Don't believe Mao telling you that he's creating transition. I have been tweeting Mao, telling him, respect our constitution. It stipulates very well. If you want to have a good transition, it is through free and fair election. That is in Article 59. Also, Article 1028 tells somebody must be born in Uganda. So we must have indigenous. For us to say that we are independent, we must be able to get our country into our hand, and we develop. But we are not developing. We are regressing. We've got the biggest cabinet ministers. For what? What are they doing? They cannot decide anything. They cannot do anything in the interest of Uganda. So when we look at education, we are looking at our children. The number of literacy is too low, 38. And we are looking at how many children they can read and make sense of what they can read. In actual sense, those people, they are they are not there. They are 83, they cannot read, they cannot make sense of what they have read, what they have written. So we are having children who don't go to school, drop out, lack of school fees, affordability. The journey is too long. So there are so many reasons. They could tell you NRM will tell you something is to do with a pad. It's never to do with a pad. Trust me. That is never to do with the sanitary towels. I'm a woman. I went in school in Uganda, and I did not have any problem with that. So education is still very poor. But after 60 years, we should be progressing. What we see, Museveni is building up schools in Tanzania. They are building up schools in Rwanda as well. They are not building schools in Uganda. Children, they still study under the trees. So what can we celebrate? The structure buildings are not there. So what can we celebrate? Today we are not celebrating. Uganda has become a parasite instead of becoming independent. So for health, 19 women, they are still dying every day. 300 children, they die every day. No medication, no staff, there is no funding, there is no pay, and we're having a brain drain. That all our health workers, they are now they go abroad to look for green pastures. So that is a brain drain. So we are not progressing. Effectiveness, efficiency, effectiveness. We should have lots of health workers working in Uganda. And efficiency, we should have good health workers in our country. But we are not having those people. So the yardstick is there. Since 1962, where our nurses, we are having a biggest population, so we should have more nurses, more health workers. But what we don't have them. And what we have, they are not being paid well. They are not being paid enough on work. And how can they avoid to be corrupt, to ask for bribes when they don't have money to pay for their transport, when they don't have money to pay for their children, when they don't have money to pay for their rent? So health workers, we are not progressing at all. We are looking at fake medication. We are looking at how many new hospitals has been built since we became independent. Colonials gave us the Mulago Hospital when Uganda was 5 million. So we haven't built any other big hospital apart from what we have. And the population is swelling up. So how can we say we are developing? Efficiency, how good? And effectiveness, how is it done? We are talking about Uganda's got the most expensive road in the whole world, but it doesn't have rights. It only have rights a few, and now they are collecting money. So how effective is that? So many NRM, they say, oh, Museveni has built the roads. But you have to ask yourself, in the word effective, efficiency, how many roads has he built within 36 years? Should he build like 2,000 roads? Every year we make budget for the roads, budget for what? But where is that money going? We should have more roads. And what the roads we have, they are substandard. Chinese, shoddy work. They do Ginger Bridge, it breaks down after 2 months. They do in Masaka, it breaks. Northern Bypass, they have to do it again. So when you talk about our independence, we are not benefiting. When you look at countries like Kenya, they celebrate with something to show. A new building, something they have done. But in Uganda, we have got nothing and nothing to show at all to celebrate for. What we have is to show that we are regressing. What we have is abuse of human rights. What we have, that people, they are being abducted. What we have is corruption. There is nothing and nothing going on in Uganda. So when now you look at job creation, how can we say, how many jobs have they created? Ugandans are abroad going for green pastures, and the Ugandans now, they are being exported. That is the saddest story. Our Ugandans are being exported to Arabic countries to become slaves. That is not acceptable. Their organs are being taken out. As we speak today, our Ugandans, they are stuck in Dubai. They don't have airline tickets to go back to Uganda. And now they have stopped, they have sabotaged the concert, charity concert, to raise money for them to buy tickets to take them to Uganda. And the saddest thing, we have got Uganda Airlines, which should be a Uganda Airlines, but unfortunately it belongs to 3 people, 99. We, the Ugandans, we have got 1%. Just 1%. 1%. So if the airlines belonged to Uganda, maybe the government would have taken on responsibility to go and pick up our Ugandans. But at what time are we Ugandans going to feel that we belong to Uganda or we will benefit from Uganda? So when you look at job creation, is not there. We are still having our children graduating every day from any sort of institutions, but there is no chance they are going to work. One of the reasons is about nepotism. Since Museveni has come to power, now all the people, they are getting jobs. They are from Western Uganda or from other countries. But you ask yourself, what's wrong with these people? What's wrong with people from Southern Uganda, from Northern Uganda? Yes, we can see in the government, he's giving work to, Dolo, to locate who died, or Chola, Rusa Chain. So, but what about the southern people? How are we going to do this? There is inequality. There is exclusion. There is exclusion, as you can see. So when we talk about Uganda, Uganda is regressing. Uganda has become a parasite. Uganda is not becoming a country it should be. They should be able to fix for job creation, but they are not doing that. When you talk about when the word development, you have to do something. When you develop, like you build big factories, it means those big factories, they are going to create good jobs for your people, and your people will stay home and your people will work. We need to employ foreigners to come to Uganda and work, but as it looks for now, it's we people in Uganda who are looking for work. And when people, they live in Uganda with the qualification, they end up doing dodgy works. They end up doing, a doctor can do anything, receptionist. Somebody, you can do something like security. It shouldn't be that way. So there is nothing to celebrate, and it's everybody to play a part. When you look at job creation, the problem is there, nepotism. and the politics has become career. People, they are stuck in politics. They don't want to step down. We don't have anything to do with the retirement. We don't have to do anything with the pension, which can attract the people to leave work. And when they leave work, they vacate those places for young people. So that is the dilemma. Uganda has got one of the youngest population in the whole world. And 70% of that patch is unemployed. That is big. So how are you going to create jobs? But I'm looking at NUP manifesto as a manifesto for hope, that it has got a hope to create jobs. It has got a hope to address what has gone wrong. When I look at the manifesto for NRM, it says is a secure future. It's not securing future. So the challenges for Uganda, they are very big. But there is more questions than more answers. Right now, we should be celebrating for our independence with the all pride, but we have got nothing to celebrate. So housing is a sad story. Affordability is a big problem. The land grabbing is massive. Homelessness is big in Uganda. It is big. Affordability, people sleeping in slums and people sleeping in the ghetto. And Uganda, the problem, Museveni doesn't know what the word ghetto means. The problem, they want to use ghetto as for politics. So when we look at have we developed, the efficiency is not there. How many ghettos? At this time, we should try and make the lives of ghetto better. We should always have less ghetto in each town, because that is what it means. Ngenda Katwe, Ngenda Katwe, Ngenda Katwe. Katwe is ghetto in Uganda. So we should be like looking at ghetto area, creating more opportunities for them, accessibility for them, let them have clean water, let them have light, let them have healthy clinics there. And when you talk about health in Uganda, you find in Uganda it's about private. It is privatized. It is about private. We've got more private clinics, we've got more private hospitals than any government. So the government has been lacking emphasis to do that. The government doesn't care to make anything good for Uganda. So NRM is a culprit, because the legacy for NRM is there. They are not going to escape this. They are going to be judged, because when you look at effectiveness and efficiency, you say, how many good hospitals have you created? The good hospitals we have, it's about missionaries. Efficiency, effectiveness. How many hospitals have you? I come from Lusakara Mese. Since I was born, I still go to Kalisus as my health center, but it is very far. Accessibility is so far. So how can we build our country? How can we celebrate? There is nothing to celebrate. At this time, responsiveness catches up with Museveni. Responsiveness, how soon you do something. These are all elements of good governance, because now Museveni, they can ask him, the Ugandans there in Dubai, responsiveness, how long did it take you to act? To get Ugandans out of Dubai, instead of sabotaging the concert that was going to contribute money and get Ugandans home. You just hope something will happen. You just hope that we will get donation. And when Bobby Wine offers himself to help, you don't want, because that exposes you why you didn't do it. And if we have a Uganda Airlines, our airline should be able to go and collect our people. So Museveni, when you talk about responsiveness, has never been there. Efficiency, NRM will tell you he has done this. How has he done it? Within a few, has he built a road from here, from Kampala to Nakulabye for 10 years, for 20 years? The answer should be, when you come in power, you come with your manifesto to do work in 5 years. So in 5 years, what have you done? Have you done? I find it very difficult that when I'm coming from Masaka or I'm going to Masaka, the distance, the time it takes you to go from Kampala to Kyengera or Kyengera to Kampala. Even now it has extended to Nsangi. 3 hours. 3 hours. Minimum, you can be there 6 hours. And if you are unlucky, there is an accident, it is a small road. You don't know what is coming. There is no lights. No one tells you the traffic is not there. You'll be stuck in traffic for a long time. So efficiency, we're asking Museveni, 36 years, how much would you have done? That's in 1988. In 36 years, how much would you have done? Politics, we don't have time to massage somebody. Politics, we don't have time to say somebody rest. We, when we go in the new Uganda, we'll be working our socks off. We should be team no sleep 24 hours, but we should not sit on our backside that we are in power. Politics, this is why it is hot. When you cannot handle, step down. When you cannot handle, resign amicably. So that is what people, they have to do. So when you talk about housing, now we have land grabbing. I always say, look at the word next. What does it mean next? Now, when you see land grabbing, I was searching on land grabbing. You know, we had the land inquiry. We had Kathleen Bagamarie. Do you know what she did? She went to UK to check into the record books of something to do with our lands. At this time, when we are independent, should we be going to our colonials? We should transfer all the information. That is why, for me, I'll talk about we should have a digital ministry. We should not have all these useless ministries. We should have a digital. And that digital is going to create a lot of works. Lot of work. You don't need to be an expert in digital. We can have those who enter, who collect, who protect data, who analyze, who comes up with statistics. We are going so that we develop meaningful jobs for our children, so that they don't go to be vendors. They don't do. But as we speak for now, the jobs in Uganda, you have to be a security officer. You have to be a prison officer. You have to be a police officer. You have to be an army. You have to be an ISO. You have to be Bunobu Kagato. That is what Museveni is doing. But the legacy, the counter, the judgment is upon them. For 36 years, effectiveness, how have they done? Efficiency, how good have they done? Responsive, how soon have they responded? Mulago Hospital has been there. What they did, they made a wing. That wing is for people like you have a normal bath, it's nearly $1 million. So how will my mom afford it? My mom, I take it, is a taxpayer. My parents, they are taxpayers. They're entitled to come in the hospital and see a doctor and have aspirin, have a prescription, maybe go and buy it. The country we are looking at is about Rwanda. Rwanda, you have a prescription and you get medication. Now what we are having, we are having influx of fake medication from India. Fake medication. People, they are being injected in water. So what have we got to celebrate, to be honest to you? We must be honest. When you talk about health, our life expectancy is at the age of 48. So if it is average of 48, think about of those people who die at 48, that they haven't seen a better Uganda. They haven't benefited from the word Uganda, their country. I'm telling you, Ugandans, we are not born as we are like foreigners. We are born as indigenous Uganda. And we are born to succeed in Uganda. We are born to share on what Uganda gives. We are born to enjoy what Uganda is. But what is happening? We are not. We are becoming beggars belief that you find a Ugandan and we say, oh, Mukama atuyambe, Museveni atuyambe, Museveni atuyambe. Is the song, I call it song. We should not be saying Museveni atuyambe. We should demand. So when you look at the land is bad. When you look at transportation, it's so bad. I'm telling you. The roads are very small. And the transportation is affecting our economy big time. big time, because we have food in Lusaka Mese that could come in Masaka and Kalisizo and be sold at a very cheaper price, affordable. But it cannot come from Lusaka Mese because the roads are not good and the market is not there. So when you look at transportation, it affects many things. We are losing 19 women every day because some of them, they cannot get to the hospital in time. They cannot get to the hospital in time so that they are able to see a doctor. They will die during, like, they cannot get to school. So we have to look at transportation. It's a public health issue. It connects a lot of things. When you have transport, when somebody wants to give a birth, will step on a border. Where is the border going to take you, for goodness sake? Border will get there if you want to have a birth when you are having more problems than what you are meant to have. So transportation plays a big part. We are looking at Entebbe Express. We are in debt because of Entebbe Express is the most expensive road. And that, you see how it is connecting. It is connecting to economy, to income of people. Now our debt has become from 1.5 to 1.8. So all these, they bring things together because this is how it does. So when you look at public transport in 1988, Museveni promised us to have a train. Kenya are talking SCG, but we are talking border. Many people having accidents without any compensation. We are talking about tukutuku. We are talking about electric cars. If in Uganda we still use tadoba, electro, candles, how are we going to afford to maintain electric car? Umeme is always turned off, on and off. It needs 24 hours. And electricity is becoming a problem. If you have a factory, you need electricity to work 24 hours. So what Museveni doesn't understand, and his big, useless cabinet, they don't understand, they don't look at the impact. If there is no electricity, people, they need fridge to make their drinks cool. Some, they need to be cooking. Some, they need the light. Some, they need it for these crabs. So everything is affected on a standstill, and the people, they end up hiring generators. And generators, they bring fumes which can affect the health. Generators are unreliable. They are inexpensive. So we are becoming a beggar's belief, and there is nothing to celebrate in Uganda. When you look at something to do with the transport, is a big issue. That when we look at, we shouldn't be Uganda talking about tuk-tuk. Why should we be talking about tuk-tuk? Tuk-tuk, border. No, we should have a bus, coaches like these which are coming from Nambole. We should have them. Buses, coaches, dropping people from Busega, you make something like a T junction that you have like coaches coming from Najanankumbi, from Natete, from Busega, then from Nakawa. Then that's how you have it. I was in Spain and I admired their railway station. It is so good and easy to get with. But in Uganda, the distance, the time it takes you to go from Europe to Uganda could be the time much more to Kabale. So now you see, now they have employed Jennifer Butaruchi, doesn't have qualification. Uganda Airlines have a massive loss, 500 billions. So that means our debt we are going to pay is going to get higher. And then that Uganda Airlines cannot pick up Ugandans. So what do we achieve, to be honest? If Ugandans, they celebrate, I don't know how they can celebrate. The traffic is too much. We don't have traffic lights enough. When you come to where Sawa Queen is demolished, you find there traffic office. When the light is red, they tell you to move. When it is green, they tell you to stop. So when we talk about NUP, we are going to fight ignorance. That is where we mean. Because how can you bring up a nation that they drive when it is a red traffic light, and when it is green, you stop? It should be circumstantial that you stop when that happens, but it shouldn't happen when the lights are flowing very well. So the traffic flow is never there. How are you, Patricia? How do you feel anyway? I always pray for you, and you know that. So the challenges, the questions we have in Uganda, should we be like that? We are looking at corruption, the rampant corruption, the corruption that happens in key areas that they happen. There is no, when you see key areas, police 70%, traffic is 69%. Judiciary, where are you expecting to have justice? You will not have. It is 57%. In health, 48%. In lands, it's between, I think, 50. In all these government institutions, which are meant to hold Uganda like this, it's never there. The problem we are having, Museveni is creating more jobs. That is what is called bureaucracy. Creates more offices for so many people. For him to have a backside, to have a backup. When you see now, Nabanja is the prime minister. She went on to employ 5 people from her family. Tayebwa also employed people from her family, and there is never. That is why you find that there is too much corruption in the office of the prime minister, because once you have your sister, your family there, it's very easy to compromise, manipulate the system, and you get away with the corruption. So our committee, led by Joel Senyoy, has got a big job. So when we have so many questions, it's like, for me now, as me alternative government, I ask myself, what next? It is just like this morning, Mao has made a statement that we have to take account of. We have to jump on that. We have to hold him accountable, because he said he's going to respond to the request of the EU. You know, the ban they gave, it is banned for 1 year. It's not forever. They'll give you Western world. They'll give you time to set up yourself and the conditions. So they have set them conditions. And those conditions I can see in this week, they have tried to reply. The police coming, and the Otafile Internal Affairs has said something. The UPDF has said something. Awards are flowing. And then Mao promises he's going to do something. So are we going to hold him accountable? We NUP, our problem is not about drilling the oil. Our problem is the conditions. You drill oil, but respect human rights. So we need to demand our brothers and sisters, those who are missing, those who are abducted, kidnapped, and those who are in prison. We need to put the government onto the back foot. We have got so many people traumatized. We saw the picture of young people in Kamoj. They don't know where their mothers. Olivia Rutaya left 2 children. Machete left, is it 2? I met one in prison, he left 9. It starts with a K. So we are not where we want to be, because we have got a dictator. That dictator has been supported by many things. International, he has been supported by intimidation, because he has intimidated the people of Uganda. And once he has intimidated them, now they fear. Now they praise him. Museveni is powerful. Museveni is great. Oh, Museveni is going to bring his son. You dare not do anything. So it is intimidation. Dictators are there not because they are strong or not because they are powerful, but they create something for themselves. They create fear in people. So we are having a big problem. Likewise, Museveni is having a challenge, because when you talk about independence, there is nothing to celebrate. Efficiency, effectiveness, and a responsive. We want NRM to give us accountability. We want to look at money they collect from URA. How is that money spent per year? Per year, we are having budgets going up. We want to ask Matia Kasaja, can you resign? You are borrowing too much money. And where does that money go? We want to ask Wino Dolo and ask him to resign and ask him, why do you ask cash bail that is too much like that? When you came in office, you said something to do with the cash bail. Why are you asking NUP money, cash bail that never used to happen? How comes? So we have to ask Otafire, how comes you don't know what's going on? What's going on inside the country? You don't know where the abduction, and if you say 50% of people they are innocent, how comes we have got member of parliaments into prison? For how long are we going to keep them into prison? So we have got more questions. Our prisons, they are full. Communicable diseases is there. We have to ask ourselves, are we independent or are we parasite? Are we a national parasite? For me, the answer, we are a nation of parasite. That Uganda relies on the nation, we are a nanny country, but however, we are becoming parasite in another bad way. Another way, I mean that as we speak for now, parasite, you can see now these political opportunists, NRM apologists. It's about parasite. You saw Kusasira is crying. Crying to who? So all these people, they change their heart. 1 minute they want change, and then they change, and then they get money. And then they enter, they start starting like NUP, they take selfie with the Bobby Wine. Next time you hear they have given him money. Parasites that they don't really feel even sorry. They are lack empathy for their country. They don't care about their country. So we are lacking even ourselves to be independent. Once we become independent, we are going to stand against Museveni. Once we become independent, I'm telling you, we are going to stand against Museveni. Because once you are independent, there is nothing can phase you. There is nothing can intimidate you. But what we see now, because of what Uganda is, there is no rule of law. It's so disjointed. You find the Ugandans, their unit is very difficult to come because everything is about private. Everything is about individualism. That is the problem we are having in Uganda. We are having so many problems, but are we independent? The answer is no. Why are we not independent? Is so many reasons, but we should be led by a government in power. A government in power that sets its tone to develop the country, that comes up with the policies that are going to help the country. And one of the things that they have to look into is about social issues. Why have they got to look into social issues? That is what ordinary person in privilege must have. It is just like justice. Everybody must have justice. And that is what makes that unique, that you can stand against the richest and you win. But in Uganda, that is not the case. It is becoming a problem day and day. But if you want to know, regardless of what we want to say, Uganda is not independent. And we can only be independent by forcing our way for change. We have to stand for change. Things that they might look grim, but we must stand up for change. Look at the challenges for poverty. There has not been any sort of approach, any sort of tackle to reduce poverty, any sort of tackle to eradicate poverty, any sort of tackle to deal with the poverty. People, they are dying. Look at the drought in Karamoja. Should we be like Karamoja? They are starving. Uganda, we have food. We have food in where Rusakara message to feed all those people in Karamoja, because Karamoja is northern Uganda is a big area, But when you go in statistics, they have got the smallest population. So we have got enough food. When you see NUP, they have given money to northern Uganda, and Anatina do just laughs. That it shouldn't be that way. When you see Uganda is prone to natural disaster, the landslide, the mudslide, eastern Uganda, they are suffering that. Mbale, they are suffering that. If we are developed, we should be able to counter those mudslides. But in Uganda, to life a government, tekisoboka. That is what we have brought ourselves to being. When you go to Netherlands, that is why it is called Netherlands. Never they had floods that took up the whole country. And they said, we are not going to invest in anything. We will invest in barriers and we will never have floods. But in Uganda, we know Kasese is going to have mudslide. Mbale is going to have floods. And all these problems that can be dealt with. As I speak, people, they have died in the last, since 2017, we have lost over 800 people. 800, nobody cares. We are losing people who are dying of hunger in northern Uganda every day. They are very many. They don't want those numbers to come out. A country without credible statistics, how are we going to develop? How are we going to celebrate? Whether we like it or not, there is nothing to celebrate about Uganda. It's about all this sole state. When you see that you can't be colonized, independent for 60 years, and you cannot respect multi-perspectory, you cannot respect political opponents, you cannot understand that they have said to you, we are stopping the pipeline because abuse of human rights, and you say it is going to go ahead. What you have to do, allow people express their opinion. Allow chapter 4 to go ahead, protection and the freedom of people. We have got a constitution which has been ripped apart. They don't. So how are we developing? Do we need to amend our constitution to develop? The answer is no. So what have we got to show? Nambole Stadium is gone bankers. We should be showing something. Did we build a school? In 34 years, NRM should have at least 34 landmarks. When you look at independent, it becomes a yardstick. Because every day you go back, we are now 60 years. What have we done? We are now 60 years. How many schools? We are now 60 years. How many hospitals? We are now 60 years. Where are our health workers? We are now 60 years. What about the roads? We are now 60 years. Corruption. We are now 60 years. Poverty. As we speak for now, people in Uganda, they still go into the bush for their toilet. As we speak for now, this is a yardstick to decide whether we are developed or not. We speak for now, there is no clean water and sanitation. You might say that you have it, but we are talking on average. As we speak for now, we have not reached the middle income, and we are not there. Uganda is the third poorest country. But was it like that? When Amin left, he left us with a debt of 4 billions. Now we are into 70 trillion. Every Uganda has got to pay 1.8 million. This is the saddest story. And it is one of the reasons that people, they are seeking for change. And it's one reason NRM don't understand. They want to force people to like them. They want to force people to be NRM. They are buying off people. At this time, after 60 years, shouldn't we allow to have a free and fair election? Shouldn't we allow Ugandans to make their chance, to make their say? It is not there. They are not allowing that. So how can we celebrate 60 years when you have got nothing to enjoy, when you don't have your rights? How can you celebrate 60 years when in Uganda and you don't have identity? Our identity is gone. Instead of having a Ugandan passport, you are having East African passport. The passport is not recognized for Kenya, it's not recognized for anywhere. You have identity card. Identity card, it expires after 10 years. Identity card that you have, if you lose it, you are going to pay. Is it 250,000 or 50% of a million or 500,000? That is a lot of money. These are things that we are entitled for free. So at 60 years, you apply for your passport. You need to bring baggage of documents for you to get your what? Your ID. It shouldn't be that way. We are born in Uganda. We should be who is your grandmother. In Rwanda, it's about your grandmother. Then they give you the national ID and it comes automatic. But that is not the case in Uganda. We have got TIN, tax identification number. We should have it automatic. In UK, it is the national insurance number. They give it to children after when they are going to become 16 years. So we should be doing the same that we give people so that everybody starts paying tax. But in Uganda, we don't have the system. Every day, they are going to change. ID, they need to take your fingerprint. ID, they need to have your DNA. So driving license are not there. People who have got driving license, they are not really driving license. They pay money, they get driving license. They are not competent drivers. So how are we going to have these roads, flyovers? People, they're going to knock themselves up. How are we going to have cable cars when the electricity we have is not there? So how are we going to have a developed countries when young people, they are not cared for? Young people, they die. Young people, they sleep without food. Young people, no one cares for. There is no program for young people to be in education. There is no program to access meals. You find people with the kwashako. We are really we are relying on donation. That is a yardstick. After independence, we shouldn't be relying on donation. We should be, thank God, we have seen that Ebola, they have said us there is no money, we can look after that. So Uganda relies on donation. We have got a big debt. We have got 5.1 trillion we borrowed for COVID. So anything that comes, it's like we are borrowing money. We are using all these excuses. We are using HIV, we are using COVID. Anything that we can see, they are going to get money. If you see the debts, what Matia Kasaja borrows, it's very sad. And now they are waiting for China to write off our debt. So that is very sad. Remember, China owns Entebbe Airport. It's gone. So Museveni, what he lacks to seek for accountability. Every money is budgeted for. Whether it goes or it doesn't goes, it doesn't seek any accountability. He said God will help you. And those who steal money, they get rewarded with positions in the government. So Uganda is more for sale, not for develop. It should be developing. Uganda, we are parasites. We are not independent, whether we like it or not. So we have to play part, our people. Change the government, work very hard, and stay cool and stay determined, because we have to help our country, whether we like it or not. But the word effectiveness, efficiency, responsive is catching NRM, because we are not going to accept what have they done in 50 years, in 36 years. What they have done, it should be done within 3 months. If they are serious, look at NUP. We had Kamocha, now we have headquarters, we have got the party, we have got all these chapters. Everything is we are learning, we are young, but we are developing at a very good speed. We need to have all these that they are accepted. We need to have a team that moves on with the generation. Digital. That is why I'm saying it is very important we should have a minister of digital. that we avoid all these trips people they make. We start doing things from home. We adapt to Zoom. We adapt to Skype. We adapt to WhatsApp. We adapt for emails, statements. But all these, we are making too much problem that we have to go and see somebody, and we have to spend money for transport. Look at Nabanj, how many people she took in America. So as I wind up, Uganda is not where it is. It is on sick bed. Education, no. Janet, not fit. Health, still no. Job creation, nothing is there. Housing, nothing is there. Transportation, we are talking tuku-tuku. Boda, others, they are talking Boeing. So corruption is at rampant. Poverty, we are seeking again and again. What next? We are still on the system of colonization because we've never become independent. We are not allowing people, technocrats, to come and say, let us design our Uganda that is going to fit Uganda. But what we have is what is there, and they don't want so much to go ahead. So as I wind up, thank you very much for joining me. Let us hope tomorrow there are prisoners who are coming. Motive Kasaga is coming for bail. So let us follow that. There are so many people. Let us follow that. Everybody, let us follow all those people. Let us share, retweet those people who are missing, especially when our president post somebody who is missing. Let us ask again, who is he? It's so important. Like are good, but retweet, reshare, they work. And now I'm glad everybody can see Twitter, how it works. It's so good. It's so good. So at this moment where we are going to prepare yourself, open so many accounts because they are going to start blocking people on Twitter. You know, all these social media platforms, they benefit a lot of money from dictatorial government, if you don't know, because they pay them PR, they pay them to block people, they pay them to penalize the accounts, and it's going to start very soon. So if you want to have some 3 pages, don't use the same device, because once you use the same device, they will block all the 3 pages. Use another phone to open up another and maybe you go into internet cafe. But if you use the same phone, it has got the word IP, they will see it, and then you'll be struck off. So I'm very happy. Moses Male, Patricia Sewungu, Naiganda Sali Ambrose, Guy Mbude, Nabasosewu Mwenambe, but share the message. Any comment is so good, I'm gonna read it. And possibly I will come back. Those are the things I had to say about independent. Not very entertainment, but I think it's something, it has got substance because it's based on, it is evidence-based. So thank you so much. I see you in the week. I don't know when I'm going to be. I'm going to look at my program. I don't know when I'm going to. Oh, people who live in the United Kingdom, there is a demonstration on Friday near the UK Parliament. It is between the church and the UK. Between that, there is a place we normally gather. There is a demonstration at the UK Parliament because there is a Lord who works into the Parliament, but he is the one who is helping all these deals from 7 to go through. So we have to go back to the UK Parliament. And what I said next is most of our question we have to look at. When you gain something, you don't sit, just go ahead. Just go ahead and pursue. Problem is to sit and say it has done. The oil pipe hasn't been stopped. For 1 year, it will be stopped. If Museveni can make, NRM can make those, or meet those conditions, then they will lift the ban. But it is up to us to post them non-stop. Post them. Human rights is not attended. No, environment is not. We tell them, all these people, all disaster, drought, those are all, everything is environment. So we have to be reporting to them and pamper them with the email and maybe think about that mohos for ICC. So for that, I'm gonna go. I've got lots of to do. Thank you so much. So Uganda is not developed. There is nothing for me to celebrate. All I can work very hard is NUP to get into power. And that is what I want to do. Once we get into power, I can know that there is a chance to put things which has gone wrong, to put them right. Salute, people power, our power, NUP everywhere, NUP. Thank you so much. Salute.